Having a sister in your life means that there is a person who always steals your clothes, makeup, and those expensive beauty products you spend a fortune on. Yet you're fine with it because you love that person. Well, my case used to be like this until the day my sister stole the most valuable thing I have, and I ended up ruining her life for that. Hi, my name is Sam, and I have a younger sister named Kelly. When we were young, Kelly and I were very close. However, that changed when we grew up, and I almost caused her death. Kelly became my greatest enemy and the person I hated most. With time, Kelly changed. She became a monster. But before I explain how that happened, please hit the subscribe button. I heard it will keep you from having nightmares. At the age of 16, Kelly became a famous blogger. She had her own business account and tons of followers. At the time, I thought nothing of it, assuming she was just a blogger who wants to be famous. I had no idea this would ruin years of my life. She made a fortune out of it, and therefore, to my parents, she was the perfect daughter, while I was the opposite. I was 18 years old with the worst grades ever, while she was smarter, prettier, and of course, richer. My parents were very proud of her, which made me more like a piece of furniture in our house. I don't even think they still remember my name. Kelly was their whole world, especially when she helped them buy a new luxurious house. They worshipped her. She was their goddess. And of course, not only them, everyone else did. Though my parents treated her better, I was happy for her because she's my sister and I want her to succeed. Yet, what blew my mind is that she used me as her toy to be more famous. And by that, I mean she started humiliating me in front of everyone to get people's attention. For instance, there was this one time when she made me a cup of hot milk with Oreos. She replaced the Oreos with toothpaste and filmed me while eating it. I puked in front of everyone. She even stopped calling me by name, and instead she called me Potato Head for being lazy and having bad grades. However, she was nice enough to not call me that in front of everybody, as if she's a considerate person. But what made me hate her the most was when my crush Daniel, who was 2 years older than her, approached me for the first time in my life to ask me if I could set them up on a date. I was heartbroken. At that moment, I knew that I wouldn't have a chance with him in a million years, and so I told him, "Do it yourself, you freak. Yet I doubt she wants to date a loser like you. And I don't think he would want to date me anymore after what I've said." He was really mad. I embarrassed him in front of his friends. Now he'll hate me forever. Goodbye hopes and future husband goals. Well, I think I'll end up alone anyway, knitting a dress for my cat Katy Perry because to everyone I was only a waste of oxygen. 2 years later, my sister got more famous. I found myself a part-time job and continued to be a nobody. However, suddenly everything changed. I was in a huge shock. It was like fortune had finally smiled on me and everything was turning to my side. It was like winning the lottery. Well, it all started when Regina George was planning on having a live stream on her page. And after preparing her spot in her room, she went to her hairstylist. Ugh, she's such a show-off. And I went to her room searching for my Billie Eilish hoodie. Yep, huge fan. She knew I loved this hoodie and she used to steal it just to tease me. While searching, I took a few moments staring at her equipment. I just couldn't stand the person she became and suddenly I started imitating her. I don't know what had happened to me, but I just wanted to make fun of her. So I sat in her chair and pretended to be her and accidentally turned on the live streaming. Now, I really don't know how this happened. I was not interested in social media and I really had no idea how the whole thing works. I went live without noticing and made fun of her on her own page. When she got notified that she was live, she rushed home as fast as possible, burst into her room like a mad dog, and pushed me away. I had no idea what was going on. Therefore, I pushed her back, yelling at her, and we kind of got into a huge fight in front of the camera. Just like the Kardashians, but this one wasn't intended at all. Of course, my parents put all the blame on me and punished me for almost ruining my sister's career. And after punishing me, they went to comfort her because she was angry with what happened. I was upset with such discrimination. But after that day, a miracle happened. The video went viral and got tons of views. People liked it from the beginning and laughed at the way I imitated Kelly. I became famous. Suddenly, people started asking about me and wanted more of my videos. Yet, Miss Perfect just refused to mention me ever again. I tried to convince her to have me as a guest once in a while in her videos, but she made fun of me and refused. Therefore, I decided to do it my own way, and what I did next changed my life forever. I created my own page. I posted the video on it, yet no one knew, and therefore, I hired a hacker and hacked her account. I advertised my new page on her account and asked her followers to follow my new page. And I explained that I decided to publish more videos imitating other people like celebrities and bloggers, but just for fun, without going too far, of course. And you wouldn't believe it, but my page was a hit. The video was on fire and had tons of views. I couldn't believe my eyes. When my sister knew about the whole thing, she went ballistic. She threatened me, if I don't back off and close my account, she'll make me regret it. But she also knew that I have almost all of her followers on my page, and I can ruin her perfect image as well. In fact, I threatened her of streaming live without her noticing and showing people her real identity. Since that day, she backed off. I continued working on my own page, and luckily, it got more famous every day. She was burning out of jealousy. Time passed, and I made good money as well. I bought my parents brand new cars and gave them tons of money to grab their attention. My life turned upside down, and people started to notice me. My parents finally loved me, and I had a lot of fans and friends, which made me feel special. I started to get used to such treatment, and I got obsessed. Yep, I felt like there was a sort of competition between me and Kelly, and whoever gets more successful gets more attention and love from our parents and everyone else. Though I knew all the attention was fake, I loved it. I became addicted and wanted more. Therefore, I had to do something and take her down. I wanted to destroy her. So, I created fake accounts and incited people against her. I wrote mean and bad comments on her posts and exposed her flaws. Seeing her page suffer made me more obsessed with mine. I used to get furious whenever someone writes bad or mean comments at my post and immediately check Kelly's page to see if that person is one of her fans. I used to wake up twice each night to check my page. I spent hours fixing and perfecting each post before I upload it and trying to guess what people might criticize it for. I dedicated my whole life to my page and went insane like a wild animal if something went wrong. I was worried all the time and became obsessed with buying new products, having plastic surgeries, and focusing on my physical appearance. I spent a fortune on those things, and I just couldn't stop. And the day I reached more followers than Kelly, I went to her room looking at her grinning and saying, "Well, sweetie, don't be sad. It's my time to shine." But what bothered me is the way she looked at me, smiling and saying, "Good luck, honey. You know everything has consequences." I got irritated, slammed the door, and went to my room. I couldn't stand the idea of staying at a place that belonged to her, so I bought a new, more expensive house and told her to keep hers. My parents were stunned with my new mansion. They decided to move in with me. Kelly stayed at her place and refused to come live in a house that belonged to me. I focused more on my page and started to make new videos imitating celebrities. My videos went viral and my page became more popular each day. Therefore, companies paid me good money to advertise their products. And my business started to grow more and more. One day, I heard that all the companies my sister used to advertise for broke their contract with her and came to me, and she started to suffer financially. Knowing that, I tried to convince her to come and live with us. After all, she's my little sister. But she refused. She thought I wanted to brag about my success and humiliate her. After a while, I heard that she sold her house. I felt guilty when I heard the news and tried to contact her, but her phone was off. I couldn't reach her. I sent her a couple of messages on her Instagram page, but she did not reply as well. One day, I woke up to a disaster. There were fake accounts attacking my page. It was full of mean and humiliating comments. I saw awful videos that were sent in private as well, threatening and accusing me of ruining my sister's life. I went insane when I saw that happen, and I started breaking things. I was shocked and afraid at the same time. At first, I thought it's Kelly trying to get revenge on me. Yet, after a while, I was convinced that this was not her. Plus, I haven't heard from her in a while, neither did my parents. I started to believe that something had happened to her and she went missing. My parents and her close friends tried to contact her, but no one knew where she'd been. Therefore, my parents and I decided to report her as missing to the police, and they launched an investigation. Weeks passed, yet they found nothing. The only thing we know is that she sold her house, paid her debt, and disappeared. I felt horrible for days. I kept on imagining the worst. Though my sister and I weren't that close lately, and we almost hated each other, I used to cry every single day since her disappearance. The feelings of hatred we had were just temporary, something you feel when you get irritated by someone you love. I kept on thinking about her every day, and finally realized that I should tell everyone about what I've done. Though I knew there would be tough consequences, and I remembered when she warned me about it, I didn't care. All I cared about was her returning home safely. So I gathered my strength and did the unimaginable. I posted a video on my page in which I confessed what I had done to my sister. I spoke about my obsession with my page and all the fake accounts and mean campaigns I launched against my sister. I expressed how guilty and disgraced I feel in that video. I apologized to my sister and asked my followers to help me find her. I explained that she disappeared after what happened and I want her back. Once the video was published, it rated the top. It had tons of views, yet rough consequences, as I expected. Many people unfollowed me, wrote mean comments, and misjudged me. Some even invented and wrote bad stories and rumors about me. I felt broken. I was attacked by almost everyone, and my sister was not found yet. However, there were some people who tried to help, but also found nothing. I started to lose hope. I was sure that something had happened to my sister because she hasn't contacted me yet, and my video was almost seen by everyone. I am 100% sure that it got to her, if she's okay. Months passed, and there was no sign of my sister. One day, while I was scrolling through the messages, I noticed something weird. There was a message that was mean, as most of the messages were, yet it was mean as if Kelly wrote it. And what made me more suspicious is that the sender called me Potato Head. I had goosebumps when I read it. I knew that something was wrong with that message, and so I had my own investigation. I called my genius hacker and hacked the sender's page. And what I found made me go insane. This guy named Josh was one of my sister's fans. I managed to read the messages between both of them, and what my sister did was unbelievable. After she sold her house, she moved to his place and lived with him. I couldn't believe Kelly would do such a thing. I mean, preferring living with a stranger over her sister is something terrible. Her ego just drove her insane. When I read the message Josh sent me one more time, I felt something unusual. I somehow felt that Kelly needed my help and went straight to the police station. I showed them the message and told them what I had found. I didn't mention the hacking, though. The police managed to find his address and headed immediately to his house. His neighborhood was super creepy. I still don't understand how Kelly did such a thing. When Josh saw the policeman, he refused to open the door, so the police broke into his apartment and found that he was trying to escape. When we entered the house, my jaw dropped. His apartment was full of Kelly's pictures, products she used to advertise, and even stuff she used. That guy was obsessed with my sister. He even kept the tissues she used to blow her nose with and wrote, "My baby's precious mucus." Disgusting. While the police were chasing him, I went looking for Kelly. And I finally found her locked in a small room looking terrible. She was shivering. I ran towards her and hugged her tightly. She cried like a baby in my arms. Now, Kelly plans to go to college. As for me, I applied to acting classes because, let's face it, college is a bit overrated for me. And the most important thing is that we are back to stealing clothes and makeup from each other and done with stealing followers. I hope you'll learn something from my story because I don't want anyone to be in my position. And most importantly, don't ever give up on your family.
I looked over my shoulder, making sure no one was around. Then I grabbed 3 of my shirts and stuffed them into my bag. I had to run away tonight. It was now or never. Just then my mom barged into the room and yelled, "Why are you still here?" I was studying. Studying? Go milk the cows. Books are not for you, stupid girl. I rolled my eyes and grabbed the milk bucket. Hi, I'm Amara from Greece. I was all set up to run away from my village to escape a terrible fate, when I suddenly got an opportunity that changed my life forever. But before I continue, Click like and subscribe. The next day in class, our teacher barged in and wrote a question on the board. Now who can solve this? I looked around and then raised my hand. No sweat! As soon as I was done solving the question, I saw everyone staring at a tall woman walking towards me to the front of the classroom. So, you're the famous Amara. Your teachers did say you were a genius. Signomi, who are you? She's Miss Mercedes, the vice principal of a huge school in the city. She's come here to offer a scholarship to the smartest kid in class. I just stood staring at her, my mouth open. Was this for real? I don't have all day, child. Will you accept it? Yes, absolutely. Just the day I had planned to run away, I'd been given a scholarship? I was being saved by God. 20 minutes later, my teacher was at my house, trying to convince Mama to let me go, but she kept shaking her head stubbornly. Mama, I'm not doing this for myself. I want to be a doctor so I can take care of you. For a minute, I thought she might actually give in, but then she started to scream. I've told you! Your place is here. What will you do out of school? Then Miss Mercedes took out 50 euros and handed them to Mama. Okay, maybe it's not so bad to go to school. The next day, I was at a train station with my mom, and hundreds of villagers had gathered to bid me goodbye. I tearfully hugged Mama, and she spat at me 3 times for good luck. Ftoo, ftoo, ftoo. Then she put a talisman around my neck. My darling girl! Take this. It will bring you good fortune. Come back rich and make your mama proud. I rolled my eyes, but accepted it. And then suddenly every woman was giving me a talisman of her own. I finally hopped onto the train and was so impatient to leave, I could almost push it. Just then, the train started moving away. I couldn't believe it. I was actually getting out of here. I could almost dance with joy. Sit down. I will be watching you constantly. One wrong move, and I'll have your stupid villager butt back here in no time. When we finally got to the house I'd be staying at, I was spellbound. Lots of servants were waiting for us outside. At the front was a man with kind eyes. Oh, I'd seen guys like him in movies. You must be the butler. Please take my bag. There was a pin-drop silence for a moment, and everyone looked horrified. Then the butler burst out into laughter. You stupid girl! Does he look like a butler? He's the owner of this house and your benefactor, Mr. Armitage. What? Sir, I'm so sorry. Oh, never mind. I'm just happy to see you, and I'm sure you'll do wonderful things. I noticed he had tears in his eyes. He seemed nice, but a bit weird. When Miss Mercedes led me to my room, I was thrilled to see it was full of books, and there was a TV and a really fancy-looking laptop. I jumped onto the huge bed in delight. Is this really all mine? Are you crazy? This is Dakota's room and her bed. You will sleep there. Before I could ask her who she was, the door flew open and a girl barged in. Oh my God! Miss Mercedes, why is there a beggar on my bed? Miss Dakota, she's a scholarship student. She'll be sharing your room because she can learn lots of things from you. Like manners. I'm talking to Daddy about this. And with that, the girl stormed off. That's Dakota, a real girl of the city. Later that evening, as I roamed around the house, I was walking past the library when I heard Miss Mercedes' voice. I don't see why you needed to bring that girl here. We have so many other smart kids in our school. I've told you, I have my reasons. I held my breath as I listened closer. I wanted to know why he'd chosen me. Just then someone whispered in my ear and I nearly screamed. Are they talking about something interesting? There was a handsome boy next to me, with his ear pressed to the door. I quickly walked off and he followed me, introducing himself as Gavin, Miss Mercedes' son. He said he and his mom lived here. Are you a new maid? Do I look like a maid to you? Oh, I'm sorry. Save it, city boy. You're all alike. Proud city people. I joined school after a couple of days, and I was so excited. When the first math lesson was about to start, a girl whispered to me, Psst, you can tell me if you don't understand stuff. I'll help you. I was about to thank her when she continued, I'm sure the only math you know is counting cows. Why were these people such jerks? Just then, the teacher walked in and started writing a word problem on the board. There are 85 people in a warehouse. Some of them had turned into zombies, some are still alive. If the ratio of zombies to humans is 2 to 3, how many zombies are there? Seriously? This was so easy. My pet goat could solve this. But I was shocked to see that everyone in class was just staring blankly. I quietly said, 34. The teacher turned to me. What did you say? I believe the correct answer is 34 zombies. He immediately sat down on his desk and started working out the problem. 10 minutes later, he looked up at me in complete shock. It is 34! How did you do that so fast? And before I knew it, I was being rushed off to the principal's office, and the maths teacher was insisting that I was a genius and should be bumped up a grade. That night, Mr. Armitage couldn't stop raving over dinner about how smart I was, and I could see that both Miss Mercedes and Dakota were not happy. A few days later, Miss Mercedes came to me and dumped a pile of dirty clothes on me. "You lazy girl! From now on, you'll be doing the laundry." I picked up the clothes and walked to the laundry room. The washing machine with all its buttons was making me feel so nervous. I never used one. But then I told myself, "You're Amara. You can do anything." I held my breath and pressed one button. Nothing. Another. Nothing again. A third, and the machine began to roar. Foam and water shot out, and I screamed as I tried to stop it. Then I heard someone laughing. I turned to find Gavin leaning against the wall. "What are you looking at?" "Nothing at all. I was just wondering why they brought you here. But for now, you just need to know that you're pretty cute. Move aside. I'll show you." And he unloaded the first batch of laundry. As he unloaded the first batch of laundry, he said, "And that's how it's done." He wiped a soap bubble off my nose, and my heart skipped a beat. He was looking right into my eyes. Wait, was he about to kiss me? Just when his face was just inches away from mine, Dakota burst into the room, and she looked crazy mad. "What do you think you're doing, village witch? You live under my roof, and this is how you repay me? By stealing my boyfriend?" "Dakota, we're not dating." "Oh, are you dating her then?" "Maybe I am. It's none of your business." She screamed and stomped out of the room. Before Gavin could say anything else, I ran out of there. I really didn't need all this drama. The next few days, I tried to avoid Gavin, and Dakota pretended like I didn't even exist. But then one morning, as I was getting ready for school, she threw something on my bed. It was an iPhone. "Daddy wanted you to have my old one, so whatever. If you have questions, ask Siri." "Who's Siri? A girl at school?" Dakota turned to me. "No, but she's a nerd like you, and you guys will get along really well. Here's her address. You can meet her there." After school that day, I decided to pay Siri a visit. I followed the directions and was confused when I ended up in the creepy parking garage of an abandoned mall. I immediately decided to leave, but just then, someone put a hand on my shoulder. "What you doing here, kid? Did the cops send you?" I turned around in horror to see 3 huge men behind me. I tried to make a dash for it, but I tripped over something and fell. "Ow!" "Are you hurt, little girl?" "You will be if you don't step away from her this minute." From behind the goons stepped out Gavin and some police officers. As the police took them away, he helped me walk to the car. Later at home, Mr. Armitage was extremely distressed. "It's so lucky Gavin tracked your phone's location when you didn't come home. But why would you go to such a place, child?" "I guess I just got lost. I was only looking for Siri at the address Dakota gave me." Everyone suddenly froze and looked at me like I was crazy. Then Mr. Armitage turned to Dakota and started shouting at her. "I can't believe you would play such a horrible prank. You put Amara's life in danger." "But Dad, I didn't think she was stupid enough to actually go." "Not another word. I'm really disappointed in you. Just go to your room." Dakota burst into tears and ran away. Gavin helped me to the guest bedroom and gave me a goodnight kiss on the cheek. Just as I was drifting off to sleep, I suddenly sat up in bed, startled. There was a shadowy figure standing in the doorway. It was Miss Mercedes, staring right at me. "Amara, you listen to me very carefully. Stay away from my Gavin. He's supposed to be with a rich girl like Dakota. If you want to keep your little secret, you won't mess with me." And with that, she walked away. I was horrified. Could she really know? I couldn't sleep. Later that night, I got up to get water when I saw a light coming from the study. I peeked in to see Mr. Armitage at his desk, looking worried. He spotted me at the door and told me to come in. When I asked him if something was wrong, he sighed. "I don't know why we're making losses. It's just all a mess." "Mind if I take a look?" He looked really surprised, but nodded. As I started to go through the accounts, I began spotting some problems and gave him a few suggestions to fix them. He looked stunned. "Wow, what a gifted young girl you are. I can't wait for you to be part of my company one day." "Wait, me? A part of his company? That would be such a dream." "Listen, Amara, I'm going away on a business trip, but once I'm back, there's something really important I have to talk to you about. You should go to bed now." But I woke up the next morning to the most horrible news. We found out that Mr. Armitage had been in a bad car accident on his way to the airport. We rushed to the hospital and waited for hours for the doctors to give us some news. Dakota couldn't stop crying, and I put my arm around her. The doctors finally told us that he'd suffered head trauma, but was conscious now. Dakota went rushing to him. "Daddy!" And she hugged him and cried on his chest. He stroked her hair and said he was just fine. He smiled at everyone, and then his gaze fell on me. "And who is this young lady?" We all looked at him in shock. "It's me, Mr. Armitage. Amara." He looked confused. "I'm so sorry. But you're not familiar to me at all. When we told this to the doctor, he said that it was possible the head trauma had made him lose his short-term memory, and he couldn't remember recent events. There was no way to know for sure if it would come back. I was devastated that he didn't even remember me anymore, and now I would never even know what he wanted to talk to me about. A few days after Mr. Armitage had been moved back home, Miss Mercedes walked into the dining room and dumped a bag on the floor. It was my bag. I've made a decision. I'm sending you back to your village, Amara. Mr. Armitage doesn't even know who you are anymore, so I don't see any point of keeping you here. I stared at her in horror. Oh my god, I couldn't go back. Suddenly, Dakota got up from the table. She's not going anywhere. I don't exactly love her, but my dad wanted her here, so she'll stay. Yeah, Mama. Why would she go now? Besides, we really like having her here. The vein on Miss Mercedes' head looked like it was gonna pop, but she just pursed her lips and walked out of the room. A few weeks passed peacefully. Mr. Armitage was recovering well, but still didn't remember me. I was doing really well at school, though, and Gavin and I had started going out. Little did I know that this was the calm before the storm. One night at dinner, there were 2 extra plates at the table. When Gavin asked his mom who was coming, she just said excitedly, "Oh, you'll see. There are some very special guests." A few minutes later, the butler came into the room, followed by someone. When I looked up, I nearly fainted. The whole reason I'd run away from the village was standing in front of me, my fiancé Dimitri, and there was Mama right behind him. "Oh, Amara, my love. I came back to the village when you stopped writing to me, and I found out you were gone." Gavin spat out his food. "What is going on here?" "Oh, this is Amara's fiancé. She just forgot to tell us about him." I rose from my chair. "No, I can explain. I was forced into this engagement because Mama owes his father money. I don't love him. Gavin, you have to believe me." Gavin just looked at me and walked away. I was about to run after him when Dimitri grabbed my arm. "Can you please pay some attention to me, your future husband?" There was complete silence in the room. "You and your family will pay for this, Amara." And with that, he stormed off. Mama burst into tears and said I had to come home and fix things with Dimitri, or she and my siblings would be kicked out of our house. She looked so much weaker, and it broke my heart to see her cry. I said I would leave with her the next day. The next morning, as we were leaving, I told Mama that I wanted to say goodbye to Mr. Armitage. "Mr. Armitage, you don't remember everything you've done for me, but I wanted to thank you." "What do you mean I don't remember, Amara? I know exactly why I brought you here." I looked at him in shock. "Wait, your memory's back?" Just then, Mama came running, saying Dimitri was waiting for us, but she suddenly froze. She and Mr. Armitage were staring at each other like they'd seen ghosts. You, how dare you trick my child and take her away from me? Amara, we're going, now!" She dragged me towards the door and I kept yelling at her to let me go. "Please, just stop. I was going to tell her everything. I'm really sorry I didn't take a stand for you all those years ago, but I'm trying to fix all that now with our daughter." Dakota and I shrieked together. "Daughter?" Dimitri put an arm around each of our shoulders. "Huh, you're sisters? That's so cute. I can't wait to get married to Amara and have daughters of my own." "Get your filthy hands off my daughters!" After he and Gavin kicked Dimitri out, Mr. Armitage walked over to Mom. "Please, give me another chance. For our daughter's sake. She's not your daughter. Her father left us a few years ago. You men are all the same." Mr. Armitage looked stunned. Then he looked at me and said, "Oh, she's not? Well, yeah, okay. Actually, that doesn't matter. I think she's an amazing girl, and I would like her to stay. I can send her to the best school and university, and pay for your treatments. I'll even pay off your debts." For a second, Mom looked shocked, and then she jumped at him and hugged him. "My darling, I missed you so much." Well, long story short, Mom did give him another chance. He paid off our debt, and Mama and my siblings moved to the city too for her treatment. Dakota and I are kind of friends now, although she did kick me out of her room. And most importantly, Mr. Armitage fired Miss Mercedes after he found out she'd try to get rid of me. She and Gavin moved out, but he refused to stop seeing me. So he's still my boyfriend. Who'd have thought things would turn around so much for a poor village?